You're watching From New York to Paris. This is J. Alexander Martin's Renaissance Life. Jay, thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for letting me have me, brother.
Thank you. I'm going to call out 5 titles, and I want you to respond with a simple yes or no. Fashion designer.
Yes, of course.
Architect.
Yes.
Author.
Yes.
Developer.
Yes.
Investor.
Yes.
All right, great. I'll tell you, it kind of stumped me with the architect response.
Well, I guess I am an architect of, I guess what they quote unquote urban fashions. I mean, I look at it that way.
Cool. Now, we can't talk to you without talking about FUBU, For Us, By Us. I mean, it was real huge in that era, that it pretty much dominated and allowed other brands to follow behind it. What was your role in launching the brand?
Well, I can't talk about my role unless I talk about my other partners. The story goes, Damon John was making this hat. It was a tie top hat back in the days, the 90s. Got kind of popular. And I kind of came home from Desert Storm. I was going to FIT. I was looking for something to do, or actually looking for a route into fashion. Okay. Him, Carl Brown, child friends from back and around the neighborhood in Hollis, Queens. So I saw the guys. Was like, hey, what you doing, guys? You're making a hat. You have a label. This is cool. You should do a line. Let's do a line. They looked at me like I had 4 heads and 6 arms because that's not something that they do. It's something that they had any knowledge of or cared to do. They just wanted to make some money. I was like, well, listen, let's create a real business. Here's $6,000. I'll keep $1,000, and I gave it to them and said, let's go.
When did you all know that you had gotten over the hump with FUBU and that it had taken off and you got to a place where you were comfortable with saying, okay, this is what we're doing, this is FUBU, we're on our way?
We were already doing it.
Right.
So when somebody asked me what's the major time when you knew you were doing, I just wanted to be in fashion. So that's when I knew, the day one, when I actually, got my certificate saying that I have a company. Right. When I actually registered the name FUBU, that's when I knew I had something.
Just one last question about FUBU. How many countries did you guys end up in? I know that you guys ended up being a global brand, right? Not just US, not just New York, right, but global. Right. And how global was that, in terms of countries?
We talking, Africa, of course. China, Japan, Sweden, Hawaii, Denmark. It's just so many random places that you're like, right. Denmark? Really? So we touched a lot. And actually Korea, and actually to this day, Korea and China are the biggest when it comes to FUBU outside of America.
That's current.
That's current. They pretty much have, between the both of them, maybe 20 stores, 22 freestanding stores.
Now fast forward, 2014, present day, the Fashion Mind. It's a video on demand network, going to be launched on Dish Network,
correct?
Now you're a fashion mind. That refers to you, right? Now,
yes.
I was doing some reading,
yes.
And it clicked. Right. I said, okay,
right.
That's me,
right?
And this is my network,
right?
I get it.
And it's funny you mentioned that because that word just so much engulfs everything that I do or everything that I think about. And even when I think about it, about my day one of what we just spoke about earlier, how FUBU started, is I ultimately always wanted to be in fashion, and I just assumed that everybody else or my other partners wanted to be in fashion as well. So I kind of dragged them along and pushed them with my dream.
Glad that you did.
And yeah, I'm sure they're glad. And when I think about it, I never had a title to it of what I did and what I liked. And to this day, now I do finally have a title of Fashion Mind.
That's great. We like it. Why did you decide to go the video on demand route, as opposed to some of the, other options that have been around for a long time?
everybody's on the go. You have your mobiles, you know. Like I keep my phone near me. Everybody, you wake up, look at your phone first. And in that case, I said, well, listen, what's the next thing for television? Television is going to be what? It's going to be on demand. So I hooked up with a company, and I felt that was the best route. Because if you start things now,
Right.
then later on down the line, of course, everybody's like, whoa, what happened? You know, oh my God, now every channel it's a VOD versus a regular linear channel. What I do is I have, you know, ultimately you want to be on television. This is almost like a starter kit for that,
Gotcha.
you know.
Of course, fashion. Beyond fashion, you know, you're going to touch on other areas and industries with programming. What kind of programming are you looking for, scouting for? How can people, you know, submit content for consideration?
Okay, well, the content that it's a fashion mind, and I guess if they listen to this interview, they'll understand. It's getting to understand what a fashion mind is, and what type of program. And you can look at what I say and understand what kind of program that I would want. I'm looking for like anything from hotels to dining to, of course, fashion to behind the scenes to reality,
Okay.
to sports, and anything that's fashionable. And what's fashionable? It's anything that present, popular, or trendy.
Got it. Now you have an accessories line.
Yes.
Self-named J. Alexander Martin.
Yes.
I know right now that it's ties, right?
Just ties. It will be ties, shirts, cufflinks. I'm just building it as anything
I
else.
took a look at some of the pieces, the paisley and the tonals. You know those.
Yes.
That attracted my eye.
Yes.
I would sport those myself. What's the right setting for some of the looks that you put together?
In my thinking, I think of art. I think of attraction. Whenever you want to see, and whenever you want to put on, whatever you put on, period, there has to be some type of attraction to it. Your eyes. It's about looking at your eyes. Biology. You know what makes people buy. Period. And I think of that every day, no matter what I do. So what I've done is created 3 different patterns that not necessarily all match,
Okay.
but they're all brought together by color.
You call this tricky.
And I call them triplets because it's 3 different patterns. And I guess I'm not sure what the paisleys or whatever. Even with a tonal, the tonal is tonal looks, or it's a check or I don't know, a paisley or whatever, or a solid, and it's all put together in one pattern. But when you see it, you're like, well, why does that work? So, in turn, what did you do with that? You take it with a simple blue suit or simple black suit. When you put it on, it's always going to jump out at you.
Okay.
You know, so for the people or person that doesn't really understand how to match a tie or a shirt,
Right.
you just put a white shirt on, you put the tie on, and automatically a white pocket square, no matter what you do, it's going to work.
So your accessories take some legwork out.
Take the
for
legwork
people
out.
that
Because and then
can't
you
really
guys,
put it
because I always
together.
think about back in the days when I was sitting there and had 6, 7 people, and then
Right.
standing in front of me, they didn't know how to do it. So I was like, okay, let me give you a remedy.
So you've incorporated being a
Now, I don't
stylist
have to be-
into
right.
the actual design
Correct.
process. That's
Correct.
That's different. What's the atmosphere like for you in the design lab? I mean, is it just you? Do you have a large team? How long do you stay in when you go in? I mean, what's that like for you when you're in there doing the work?
So I can tell you a typical day, a typical session is me sitting on a windowsill and laying out, as far as because I am a creative director at heart, laying out from what I feel. I may see an image and go, okay, you know what, we're gonna do something based off of medieval times, right? So then I'll research everything from medieval times, everything from that period. And I'll pick elements from that period. I'll pick colors, I'll pick embroidery, I'll pick how they stitch it back then. I'll pick what they actually
Look into
wore.
some of their processes
I'll pick-
as well.
I'll watch 5, 6, 7 different movies with that in that period. I will, and when I mean I engulf myself, I engulf myself in that. It's almost like acting, you know, when you supposed to act, when you're acting, you become that person. So I become that period, and I take that. Did I come out of that period when I wake up? You know, what I mean, it's funny. This is my process.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. And when I come out of that process, I say, well, what would that look like today?
Okay.
And that's how I attack everything.
You're heavily involved in national urban redevelopment. I like this. I mean, we talked about a lot of great things. I like it all. I like to hear about people giving back to the community. Of course, this is a business, but it's very community-centered. You're redeveloping urban areas. You have a background for selling to and way beyond the African-American market. You understand the culture. You understand the communities. How do you determine which of these communities you go into to redevelop?
I'm on the board of the National Black Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So I kind of work with them with that. So it's not something that I do on my own, per se, so I don't want to take all the credit. And we have a lot of different companies that come to us, and then that we kind of just vet out.
Okay. So you get approached.
So we get
to
approached,
come in,
and then we do is try to help. We try to help them, and then we bring in our construction companies and our affiliates to help in that situation or any other situation. It's not just that; it's a ton of different stuff.
That's awesome. Before we go, let's just talk about, you know, one of your other ventures is financing plays and films.
Yes, I just started getting into that. Yes,
we saw Jay-Z, Financially Backed Fella. Right? We saw Diddy in Raisin and Son. What led you to be interested in getting into the theater industry?
Well, not necessarily just in the theater industry. I work with a group that finances, you know, movies, plays, shows, and in that, because I also have, you know, the VOD channel, I kind of teamed up with them to kind of finance all my projects. Okay. But with that financing arm, it's like, okay, other people always come to me and say, hey, listen, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. So it's like, okay, I'll take your package, I'll put it in. They like it, they don't. You know, I'm not don't go off and tell your mom
sitting there reading,
you know, that I've definitely got it going. Right. I'm not really. I actually got to read it for myself, sometimes just to know. But they have to put together a package, and I send it to them, and if they like it, they like it. What happens with people is that I'll try to help, and I have tons and tons of resources. You know, it's all about connecting the dots. So if I can actually assist you, and then sometimes I don't take nothing out of it. You know, a lot of times I don't. Look, here, you match it up.
Making a way.
If it works, great. Because you understand what happens. Success makes me successful.
True.
As a black man, if you're successful, I'm successful. Even if I don't have nothing to do with it. Why? Because now people treat us a different way, and they respect us a different way.
So just let people know.
Marketing 101.
Primary place to find you, find what you have going on. What's the primary place that they can
Well,
find
I'd say go to fashionmind.com. I guess I'll look in that camera. Fashionmind.com, AFASHIONMIND.com. And it has my bio, has everything I'm doing. It also has all my social network. You can kind of click on it and just, you know, follow me from there. That's it, really.
Jay, my friend.
Oh, no, thank you, sir.
You indeed are a Renaissance man. Thank you for being here with us on From New York to Paris. This is Jay Alexander Martin's Renaissance Life. We hope you learned something. Thank you.
Thank you.